Today we're going to talk about 3.3 truth tables. We're going to finish them for conditional and biconditional. And so we're going to start off with the conditional, and this is the one you have to probably be the most careful on. But I want to explain to you why it works. Again, this is saying if the first happens, then the second. So if the first doesn't happen, there's no condition on it. The only condition is if the first happens, then the second. So if I give you this example, your parents said if you got all A's this semester, they would buy you a car. When is the only time that they break their promise? Do they break their promise if you get a B and they decide to buy you a car? The answer is no. If you get a B and they do not buy you a car, they didn't break their promise. The only time they break their promise is if you got all A's and then they said, oh, I'm not going to go ahead and buy you a car. That's when they break their promise. So that's what I want you to remember. There's only one time that they break their promise. When we have our conditional, everything is depending on that first statement. If you got all A's. If you did not get all A's, which is if the premise is false, they have no commitment for the second statement. They can decide to be nice, or they can decide to stick with the rule. So that's really important for you to realize. The only rule that breaks a promise is if you got all A's, they didn't buy you a car. So this one is true in all cases except when it looks like true then false. That's the only time. And that's the rule that I actually decide to actually write down below it, is what is in the box there. The only time it's false is if it's true then false. So we're going to do the truth table out using this rule first of all, and then we're going to use it to come up with the actual rule for our biconditional. So remember, if we have only a P and Q, we start off with two trues, two falses, and we alternate true, false, true, false. And so we just discussed, this is the one that order matters, so you have to be careful on this one. Which one is first? So P is first. True then true is great. True then false is the only one that's false. If we start with a true, it doesn't matter what follows, it's automatically true. So on the fourth column here, this is the one you got to be careful on. We're looking at two first. So we're going kind of backwards. We're going right to left. So if we start with a true and go to a true, we're good. We start with a false, it's automatically true. The only time it's false is true then false. That is the only time. It starts with a false, it's automatically true. So we've now just done the conditional in both directions. And remember what we talked about this when we first introduced the biconditional. When we say biconditional, it's our if and only if, which is our double arrow. But the rule means that it has to work in both directions. So both, remember, is our and, which is what we're doing here in column 5. So column 5 is saying take it in both directions and using an and, which means both have to be true. So starting here, true then true, that works. They're not both true, so it's false. They're not both true, that's false. The last one, they're both true. So my definition of my if and only if is actually exactly what I just did in the column 5. So my rule for if and only if looks like this. So what I want you to do is remember, we're looking at these first columns now, because I did multiple steps, but we don't want to have to do that on every single biconditional. So I want you to look at these first two columns and compare it with this last column, and I want you to come up with what you think the rule is on the relationship between P and Q and what we get as a true answer. So we get a true answer on the first one, so we're looking here. We're getting a true answer on the last one, and we're looking here. So we should notice that my if and only if is true if they match. So that's going to be my rule for my if and only if. My rule that we already talked about for my conditional is there, and that is that column. We're going to do a summary page after this that summarizes all the rules together, but the only two new rules for this section are what we just discussed. We'll look at some special cases in a second now that we have all of the rules done. But biconditional, if and only if, the definition we already talked about meant that it worked in both directions. I just wrote that out in symbols. Here is my rule for my biconditional. If they match, they're true. If another way of saying it is if they're the same, they're true. So I want to talk about real quickly the special cases. So really out of section 3.3, the only thing is new is those two rules that we just highlighted for my conditional and my biconditional, and now these three special cases. And when we say special cases, it doesn't mean that they should occur all the time. These are special cases that we give names to because they have meaning for how we draw conclusions. Look at the word self-contradiction. You should automatically think that is a negative word. This is a compound statement that is always false. So self-contradiction is always false. What I mean by that is the answer column is false. It doesn't mean every step. It means if you look at the answer column, every single piece is false. That's called a self-contradiction, which means it can never give you a true answer. That should make sense. The second one is my tautology. This is a compound statement that is always true. Think about the word tautology. It should think of a positive piece. So what we are looking at to say it's a tautology is that in the answer column, I only have true. So it means it doesn't matter what happens in the beginning. It's always going to give you a true answer. Our last one is our implication. Implication is actually a special case of a special case. The key is, again, it's a tautology, which, again, tautology means it's all trues. The new piece that we're adding on to this is that the last column has to be a conditional statement. We're going to use this heavily in 3.5. But again, it means that that last column, no matter what you're doing, this has to be what you're doing on that last column is an if then, and that you have to have all trues in that column. So because we just did that, we need to have a word that goes with every other case that occurs. So the book sometimes talks about this, but this is kind of an important piece. An open statement means that you have some trues, you have some falses. It doesn't tell you how many of each, but they're not all true and they're not all false. So that's the last name, and it's really kind of everything else fits into that criteria, which is most of the time you have an open statement. So now we're going to just do some examples. Okay? So we're going to be using some of the rules from the last sections as well, but that's all we're doing in this. We went over the two new rules and then the special cases. So this is a book example. We are doing a truth table for this, and they're asking, is it a special case? The special case looks at the last column. It has nothing to do with any columns until then. So let's look at this statement that we have. Remember, we do parentheses first. So when we look across here, I have a P, Q, and R, and that's why I started in this form. And remember, we have 8 cases if we have 3 simple statements. 4 trues, 4 falses, alternating pairs, then every other. So our first column is going to be that first parentheses, and this is an and statement. So I'm looking at column 1 and column 3. Any way that helps you to do this. The key word here would be both, because both have to be true for my and statement. Find whatever your comfort zone is. So I'm looking at T then T, that works. True, false, no. True, true, yes. True, false, no. These start with a false, so it doesn't even really matter what follows. Those are going to be false. This one was an and, which means both have to be true. So we're going to now go to our second parentheses, which is an or. So this is saying look at column 2 or look at column 3. This one is at least one, has to be true. So I'm looking again at column 2 and 3 right beside each other. Order doesn't matter. Both are true, it works. I just needed one true. Yes, no, yes, 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 no. Remember, I was looking at these two columns. You needed at least one true. So this one was both false. So that didn't work. And this one was both false. And that didn't work. So my last step for this problem is to put everything together. And like I said, I think this gets confusing looking at this form. So that's why I actually think that numbering helps. So this would be looking at column 4, if then looking at column 5. So this is what I'm doing for this last column right here. I'm looking at 4 then 5. This is when you have to be careful on the order. And remember the rule for this one. The only time it's false is if I go true then false, is where I break the promise. So true, true works. It doesn't matter if it starts with a false, it's automatically true. You didn't break a rule. True, true works. Starting with a false, which all of the rest of them do, we do not break a promise. So now we look at this last column, which is a conditional. So my words here would be, it is a tautology, because it's all trues, but because I also have that arrow on my last step, it is also an implication. So if it asked you to pick all that apply, you would pick both, okay? Because both of those work for this last case. Now, if you like the way the book does it, where they don't go left to right, it's okay. Just make sure you star for me what your answer column is. For my technique, this last one will always be your answer column. But if you're doing kind of the in-between pieces like they do, which is perfectly fine, make sure you star it for me. Number 2, the first thing I want you to do on this problem is write it in symbols, and then you're going to construct it in a truth table. Pause this, try to do it. So writing it in symbols, again, remember what I said to y'all before back in 3.1. I said look for keywords. We have if and only if, and we have a not in that case. So, sorry, I didn't circle my then. Notice this is an if-then, that there's not a comma, and the reason why is because the comma in this problem tells you where to put the parentheses. So my first simple statement, the dam holds. My second simple statement, we can go fishing. My last one, the pole is broken. So you notice that's how my P, Q, and R are. Then I look for, again, the parentheses goes with where is the comma. The comma is going to go here. So it says put the comma around the if-then. The if and only if it goes on the outside, and the not are. That has to be done correct to get this problem correct in your conclusion. So now you should have drawn a truth table. We have a P, Q, and R, which means I should start with the same 3 simple statements. Pattern is 4 truths, 4 falses. Alternating pairs, true, false, true, false, 2 truths, 2 falses. And then going to alternating every other one, which is what my first 3 columns are here. Now looking at my next column that I should do, and And right now I'm just going to kind of go over what you should do in what order. The next column that I should do is my parentheses. And my parentheses would be the if P, then Q. Then I need to do my negation of R. And my last step is my if and only if. So this is the order of what you need to do. And that's important for you to understand. Parentheses first. If you have a negation, that has to be done because that's on one statement. And then do that last piece. So on this first one, again, I'm doing my if then. And remember, the only time that that's false is if it's true then false. I am looking at column 1 then 2. True then true gives me a true. True true works. True false does not work, so both of those are false. The last 4 of them start with a false, so it doesn't matter what follows. It's automatically true. Any way that you need to. If you need to write down and you don't like numbering, that's okay. If you don't want to write down your rules, but the more you organize, the more you're going to have correct answers. So column 5 just takes column 3 and negates it. So false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true. My last step is doing my if and only if. I'm looking at column 4, then 5. That's important. Doesn't matter the order. The rule on this one is they have to match to give me a true. The first one does not match, so it's a false. The second one is true then true. It matches. The third one is false and false. That is okay. It's true because it matches. Next two do not. Matches, no, matches. So it's really easy to confuse the and the if and only if. Be careful. That's why I think it helps to write the word and keep saying it to yourself.